I'd say Holbein to me feel very similar to the Luminance. They have that same feeling of a little bit dry, but they go into this glossy burnished look very quickly. And then we have the Cinnamon by Polychromos, and basically these are great if you need detail, if you need your lead to be hard. So they still, you know, they're not dry or scratchy in any way. They have fantastic pigment payoff, but they keep their tip very well. So if you wanted to create thin lines or something like that, you could definitely do it with a Polychromos much better than with these, because they have this bit of a soft bit. So if you take two pencils and draw kind of a line together, you'd see that this one loses its tip quicker, and so you would see that this one, which is the Lightfast, would lose its tip faster than the Polychromos. So there you go. So that's a bit of a comparison here. A little bit of a sheen, but the shiniest of them that I can spot right now seems to be the Holbein. And yeah, I heard somewhere, I'm not an expert on pencils, but I know that basically the pencils consist of a pigment and wax and oil, and then it really depends on the brand how much of one or the other is put inside there. So if they put more of the wax, then there will be sort of wax-based pencils, but there still will be oil in there. And then you go into the other direction of putting more oil and then less wax, and that would be considered oil-based pencils, but they still would have the wax in them. So that ratio of how much the manufacturer puts one or the other is what determines the actual pencil. So my first impressions are these are beautiful, really happy with them, and they're very buildable, soft to use, easy to use, fantastic payoff of the pigment. And yeah, I think I will go ahead and buy the big set. All right, so let's dip into colors, into watercolors, and I'm going to prepare my water. So I'm going to squeeze out a little bit of these. I'm going to do a big swatch, so I'm going to go straight into paper. Yeah, I love how the paint already looks. Beautiful color. This one just looks like ordinary brown, you know, they don't look like much, these Mars paints, until you add some water. So this is super creamy. Oh wow, right, oh this is beautiful. This is a must-have. This is beautiful. Okay, this is definitely one of the most stunning Potter's pinks I've ever seen. The color is just beautiful, and the granulation is kicking in now as well. Okay, so here, this one, you need very little of the pigment and quite a bit of water to get the granulation going, otherwise you're not going to see much. So I'm trying to move it out and about. I'm going to swatch that black mask next to it. Oh my gosh, if you only would see my desk right now. So I love the black so much, I have it in my where is it? No, that's not it. I have it in my autumn palette, which I will link the card up there in the corner for you. And it's very useful to mix with other colors, and that's how you create dusk colors. So here is the black. So the back is super granulating. If you want to mute colors down with a lot of granulation, this is what you should do. Mix a bit of Mars black in there. So let's just wait a little, see how it goes. And while we're doing that, I'm actually contemplating to swatch a couple of the Potter's Pinks that I have and have them here. What I find really interesting is that when I buy these colors, I didn't buy them as a color palette, and I mentioned this in my previous haul video, but look at that. That's a color palette on its own. It's interesting. All right, let me find my Potter Pinks and I will get back to you. Okay, so I'm not sure why I was under the impression that I had Schmincke's Potter's Pink. I don't actually have that many. So the first one that I purchased was Potter's Pink, and that's by Daniel Smith, and I will show it to you in a minute. Then, let me see. Then I have this one, which is by Roman Szmal. It's one of the new 25 colors, and this one is this one here. And that's a beautiful color as well. So then we have obviously the Winsor & Newton, and the other one that I can show you is by Schmincke, which is this color, and it doesn't look like much at all, but I think it's one of their new colors as well. So it seems quite sort of not as interesting as the ones I have here. So let's swatch out the Daniel Smith. So this one, like I said, doesn't re-wet greatly at all. And it's best to use, it also separates a bunch. So just going to squeeze out quite a bit and then mix it in. So it's a bit of a problematic color, this one by Daniel Smith. You have to work with it quite a bit. It feels very sticky. And let's just swatch it out. So you can see it's a lot more muted. And it's difficult to get a nice swatch. It has that sort of streakiness about it almost. So yeah, it's not a fun one to work with. I'll try to move it a bit. And you can see that the Winsor & Newton Potter's Pink actually granulates. Now, fun fact, I don't remember where I heard this, but Winsor & Newton Potter's Pink is actually the original Potter's Pink. It's the first Potter's Pink that has been invented. I think they made a color for this artist called Potters or something like that. And so it's the first one. So every other brand that has created a Potter's Pink thereafter has sort of done it after them. So they were the pioneers, and maybe that's it. Maybe that's why it's so beautiful, and that's how it's supposed to be. So I didn't know that before, and I thought that was really interesting. Now, another Potter's Pink that I would highly recommend, and I think it's quite surprising how well they got it in terms of, you know, this is a relatively new brand, but they're doing fantastic this year with the 25 new colors. It's this beautiful, absolutely stunning Potter's Pink. I could not, I mean, if I had to pick, I think that this one looks prettier, but this one is probably, because it's the original, you know, like that's the formulation that they have created years and years ago. This is like the, obviously the color that it's supposed to be, but this is just so pretty, and not keen on this one at all, but these two absolutely beautiful. Okay, I'm going now to open up the packaged oil sticks and do some swatches over here for you. Okay, I'm just reading at the back of the packaging here. So the colors are meant to dry, or usually dry, it says here, or in most cases. So it can take beyond that, but it says here within 24 hours. And they can be used on canvas, paper, wood, plastic, metal, and fabric. They're compatible with any other oil paints, and basically they reseal themselves. So they dry within those 24 hours and they create this sort of film which you're supposed to take off just before you're using them, and then they will reseal themselves again, so that way they don't dry up, and you can use them for years and years basically. So that's amazing formula, it sounds like. And yeah, you can use them with a finger, you can use them with a spatula knife, you can use it in any sort of way that you prefer. So let's go ahead. And they don't have, I mean, they have a little, like a little scent to them, like not a scent even, but it's hard to say. It's not smelly, it doesn't have an odor. So I'm not sure how to take this film off. Oh, I see, there you go. That's quite interesting, isn't it? So you just peel that off and it will create that film again, sort of in 24 hours. It will reseal itself. So I'll just take a little bit off. And the white here is a lot whiter. So let's see if we can see this. So yeah, it feels totally creamy. And then you can sort of work with your finger, mix it in. It's quite a pleasant texture, I have to say. Beautiful. And let's do the same here. So there we go, just a little film. These are fun. I very much hope that Jackson's can find these and can start offering them in their shop, but stay tuned. They're usually quite good like that. If there's demand in a product, they will do it. So okay, so here we go. So this is the beige color. Really interesting texture. And I also quite like how this one has dried. Really, there's color separation. So in the black mask, or the mask black, you can see that there isn't really. So as I was saying, in the mask black, there isn't any other you know, color in there. So here you can see pigment separation from sort of these darker colors into more reddish orangey colors, and you know, quite a strong beautiful granulation, so it's quite pretty. Here we have the Winsor & Newton, Potter's Pink, Daniel Smith Potter's Pink, and Roman Szmal Potter's Pink, and the pencils up on the top. So that's it for today. I hope you enjoyed it. Thanks for watching and see you soon.